My grandfather saw something so horrifying on the farm that I grew up on that he could only equate it to the Christian devil. Hey y'all, welcome back. So today I am coming at you guys with one of my own stories. Well, not mine, it is a family story. It's my grandfather's that I grew up hearing him tell, and it's quite horrifying. It's one of the earliest ghost stories that I ever heard, something that made me really interested in the paranormal, and something that really geared me up because whatever gift that man had, I got it in full, for sure. And I'll be telling you all kinds of things that he saw throughout more videos, but this was the most notable, I think, and probably one of the most terrifying. So let's get into the story of the devil in the barn. Now, for a little bit of backstory, in case you don't know me, I grew up on a farm in Southwest Virginia in the Appalachian Mountains. My parents still live there, but I do not. I live like 10 minutes away in like the town area. But I still go there often, and I've had things as recent as a few weeks ago happen while I was there. It's still very active there. But this story took place when my dad was a child, so at least like 50 years ago. Now, my grandfather was a very calm man and honestly did not talk that much, but I do remember him being very calm and cool and collected. I never saw him lose his temper. I don't know if anyone else did, but I know for a fact that I never did. I can't see him ever wanting to hurt a fly, and that's very important to this story. So the story takes place one morning. The farm that we live on now is no longer a dairy farm, but it used to be, and it was when my dad was a child. So on this morning, my grandfather got up, left his house, and walked up to the barn that wasn't too far away from my dad's childhood home and went to milk the cows. He said nothing felt abnormal. He remembers walking in the barn, everything was fine. And he gets a little bit into the barn, maybe halfway, and just kind of stops in his tracks. Something feels off, but he really can't decide what it is yet. So as he's standing there, he sees this large black mass, kind of described it as like smoke, just like matter, misshapen or whatever, rather large, fall from the rafters to his feet in front of him. Now this all happened fairly quickly, but I talk slow because I'm from the South. So it happened quickly. So it falls and it's at his feet. And he watches as it kind of gains some shape and stands up in front of him. I don't know if it was shaped like a person. I wish I would have asked details. He sadly passed away years ago, so I can't anymore. But I imagine it kind of looked like a person, just a little bit. Because the next thing he said makes sense that it would have been person-like. He said he watched this thing walk towards him. And you would think that if something is walking towards you, it stops right in front of you. But this thing didn't. He watched and felt as it walked through him or into him. So after this happens, he stands there for a second, starts to feel some changes. The most notable one being anger, unwithering, unbridled, whatever the word is, anger, just like going through every part of him. So he feels like he loses control of himself, and he turns and walks back out of the barn. He no longer feels like he has any control of what his legs are doing, but he knows he is walking back towards his house with his family inside of it still sleeping, and he is preparing to do something horrible to the family in that house, to his family in that house. So he's walking down the hill, gets all the way down there, all the way up the steps of their front porch, puts his hand on the doorknob, and snaps out of it. Thankfully, every bit of anger, it is gone. There is no feeling of anything left in that man's body. And he's just kind of left there puzzled, like, what just happened to me? And to the day that he passed away, he equates that with the devil. He said he saw the devil that day and the devil took over, is what he believes happened. Now, so that happened. I'm born later and I get really into paranormal stuff, which in turn made my mom really into paranormal stuff. We end up reaching out to a group of paranormal investigators that do it amateurly in the area. So we tell them about the farm, just like little things here and there, and they're like, we need to come investigate it. So We're like, absolutely. So they come and they bring along a psychic who gets physically ill. At the second she is driving over that hill to come up onto that farm, physically ill. And she does not get better until they leave. But I know they took some pictures. I think it was like on an infrared camera. I don't know. I was so young and I don't know their contact info to try to reach out to them anymore. I think my mom did and they didn't have the stuff anymore. I guess they don't do it, but I can double check. Anyways, they are taking pictures and they take one from inside of the barn. Like, they stand in the middle where my grandfather was and they snap a picture of the back of the barn where like the head gate is for the cows. And in the back, they see a giant black mass, misshapen, standing at the back of that barn with a fiery red center. Now, I will tell you guys this story in depth later, but where that thing was standing, where it was facing my dad's childhood home. And it was particularly facing my dad's bedroom window. And when my mom lived there, when they first got together, she told me of a pair of red eyes that were glowing through the window. So a little part of me thinks that maybe it was that entity because of the fiery red center and the fact that it was pointed at their bedroom window. That was one picture they took that was super notable. The next one, the next one they took, they went out, way out into the field across from where the barn was, and they snapped another picture. And around the entirety of the barn was a black ring, perfectly circled around the barn. They found a lot of stuff in my dad's childhood home that still sits there as well. That will be a whole video on in itself, and I'll probably retell the stuff that they found in the barn too, because it is a lot. And I wish I had those pictures. I have had countless experiences in that barn. I know a lot of other people have as well. I have friends that I've brought in there that have just had the most horrific things happen. I don't know what's in that barn. I have no idea, but I do know it's something, because there is no way that something has been photographed multiple times, seen by multiple people. There's no way that it has happened and there is nothing. No way. I'm sorry, there's not. If you guys are interested in seeing what the farm looks like, I do have a few videos on here where I've done live streams at the farm, and you can kind of see, and you can see some things that have happened there. It's really pretty. It's a very pretty farm. It's like 95 acres of land. It's gorgeous. Surrounded by woods. It's terrifying, but it's pretty. But yeah, that is the story of the devil in the barn with a little bit more mixed into it. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will definitely be telling more of those stories. But thank you guys for watching, and hope you have a good one. I'll see you next week.